What's up, guys? Welcome back to Tempe Creek, where we talk about our vineyard, winery, and small farm operations. We're just a little guy trying to make it out here, and today we have a special video, guys. We did a video on these tiny houses, on these cabins we're building for the vineyard, for people to stay. It got pushed back because of COVID several times. However, we finally finished one out, and so I'm gonna take you guys through the process of step by step of what we did, and at the end I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys how much this whole project cost us, and give you my opinions on whether it's worth it for you guys to do it yourselves or not. So without further ado, let's go ahead. Welcome to my crib. Is that a thing still? I don't know. Actually, before we go in there, let's look at what an empty cabin looks like. This will be a footage from the previous video, kind of filling it in. So let's listen to this other guy talk about everything we're doing and what the cabins look like inside. Alright guys, so in this tiny little portable building that we have, it is basically a 10 by 16, so you're talking about 160 square feet. Here we have the outside of the cabin, guys. We added in a deck on the front end, and so when you walk into the cabin, you have a nice little entrance and you have a place where you can kind of hang out. Before we do the full reveal of what we've done so far, let's go ahead and go step by step on what we did. The first thing we did is we added insulation and added in this smart board behind me. Once that was done, we basically worked on the roof. Let's look at this roof. As you can see here on our roof, we added in a metal ceiling to it. And the other thing is we added cedar to the gables. So if you remember, let's look at what the old one looks like. So this gives you a good idea of what we restarted with. The last thing we did is we added in trim work and a fan. So here you see the trim going along the middle of the ceiling, trim following all the way around. We also trimmed out the windows to give it a nicer look. Alright guys, with that being said, let's go ahead and give you the whole view of what this place looks like, and then let's talk about how much this place cost. Alright guys, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about how much this thing cost us. It ended up costing us quite a bit more than we thought. I'm giving you ballpark figures because this project took us a lot longer to do than we thought, and basically keeping exact tally was a little bit more difficult because it was a project over like 7-8 months. With that being said, we spent about $3,500 on the shell. We spent about $500–600 on wiring the electric, and then basically the walls, the insulation were about $1,000 total. The ceiling and the trim was close to $1,000, so we'll round it up there. The deck, the paint, and all the other miscellaneous little things was probably about another $1,000. And then finally, when we furnish this, we're gonna spend about another $1,000 right there. The total of this place is gonna be about $8,000 or $9,000 when we are done with it and basically get it ready to rent. So let's talk about whether I think this is worth it or not. In my opinion, it depends. $8,000 or $9,000 is a lot to be spending on something you want to create revenue for you. It's gonna take us close to like over 100 stays before we're getting close to recouping some of our money, and that's a lot of stays here. Now we don't really know how much traffic we're going to be getting in here as it is. And so it feels like we spent a lot more than we wanted to, and more than we're going to be able to make more money back in the short term. However, if you're talking about somewhere to live, I actually think this is a great investment. We have a really nice place. If I was gonna live here, or maybe I wanted to start somewhere to be able to live in on my new property, this actually isn't bad. For about 8 grand, 9,000, you can have a fully functioning property, make outdoor restrooms, and have this kind of be your starting point on your property. It isn't bad. I actually think that is the way to go. Obviously, it took us a long time to do it because of COVID and all this other stuff. But I honestly think you can build this out if you have the skills, or be able to contract out a lot of these things in about 2 weeks. Maybe longer if you're not that great at it, but you can kind of bumble your way through it. I think you can probably do it in about a month and about $8,000, and you can have a place to stay in the meantime while you're getting everything ready on your property. So that's my opinion. For rentals, we'll see how it works out in the long term. I actually think we spent too much money on this for the short term. So if any of you guys with deep pockets want to come out and party out here for one night stay, it can be $8,000 and we'll be popping bottles all night long. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm not that daft. 8,000 is too much. But for $1,000, if you want to stay here for one night and hang out with us, send us an email. We might be able to make that happen. You'll be able to pick our brain, and we'll give you the insight on what this industry is actually like for the small guys, future and now. Let us know what you think about the design and also the cost of our cabins. I would love to hear what you guys have done, or how much you guys have spent, or how much you would spend on either a night stay and all that sort of stuff, guys. All right, Tempe Creek out.